Welcome to the Grand Midway Hotel. Built in the 1880s as a central hub to the coal mining town of Windber, Pennsylvania, it now serves as an artistic refuge and supernatural escape. The idiosyncratic works of art meld with the paranormal energy that was forged by the hotel's dark history. Amongst the artwork, the hotel holds the world record for the world's largest tarot card, which is painted on the ceiling of the living room, and the world's largest Ouija board that encompasses the entirety of the roof. We join the hotel's proprietor, Blair Murphy, as he discusses the history of this mysterious antiquity.
So, the Grand Midway Hotel. My name is Blair Murphy. I'm the host of the Midway, and that's set in Windber, Pennsylvania. Windber was an old coal mining town where the people were paid in company money, and there was a lot of really rough conditions. This is pre-labor laws, and so little kids were first forced to work in the mines, and they'd collapse. And our building, the Midway, was a brothel, and so those conditions were brutal too. And we think that a lot of that's in the walls, the energy of all that. And it seems like it's pretty much we have teams here every weekend investigating, and they all come away with a bit of that.
We begin our investigation in a surprising spot of the hotel as the REM pod I placed on the kitchen table began buzzing wildly. A REM pod is a device that emits an electromagnetic field and will set off an alarm when a force breaks that field.
Can you let go of that, please? If you're a male entity, can you grab onto that again? If you're a female entity, can you grab a hold of that antenna and let us know that it's you?
Wow, that was...
No way.
Now we understand you're a female entity. Can you let go of it for a second and we can further communicate? Now can you tell me, are you a child entity? Are you a little girl?
Okay.
Are you able to let go of that again so we can talk further? Thank you. Is your middle name Minnie?
Martha Minnie Serwinski is a resident spirit of a young woman who tragically met her demise on the hotel balcony on July 4th, 1911. Here is Blair Murphy discussing his knowledge of Martha's untimely death.
One story we kept hearing from everybody was that this horrible death happened at the Midway at the beginning of the century, that nobody could remember. It was happened to their grandparents, but it was just horrific and bloody, and the whole community witnessed it. And it took about a year for us to finally get the story, but it turned out a 19-year-old who worked at our place when it was a brothel was on the second floor or third floor porch out front watching fireworks. And the fire department dropped a rocket into a pipe. There were about 10,000 people out front, and it exploded on the ground, and this frisbee of iron went, and it clocked this young woman, beautiful young woman, in the throat, knocked her throat out, and she died screaming on the 4th of July over the entire community.
Who? Minnie, can you turn the flashlight back off? Twist it the other.
Minnie, are you still here with us? Are you able to turn one of the flashlights on? I put another one on the table if you want to use that one. Or do the REM pod.
Despite the grisly nature of her death, Minnie comes to us as an exuberant spirit defying our requests in what seems to be a playful nature.
Sean, we need to learn Morse code.
Surprised they don't have like an app or something. Should have done one.
After making a friend in Minnie, our investigation moves to the bar. Here's Blair Murphy outlining the history of the bar's unique shape.
Okay, so our bar is shaped it's got a boat. It's a boat bar, a ship, and we think it's because of the Titanic, because the coal from the town of Windber, the town we're in, was sold to the Titanic for the Titanic to go back before it sank. So our town, the Berwyn Company, is related to the Titanic, and we think that the bar was capitalizing on Titanic fame.
We set up a static camera focusing on a REM pod I put on the stage, and unique things start to happen.
I'm gonna set this more over here too.
Can you tell us where you are? Did I send you guys that?
Disembodied voices from the hotel's past begin to replay events in the style of a residual haunting. It is said that the brothers Charles and Edward Berwyn, the original owners of the mines in Windber, would promise immigrants fair compensation and their own houses in exchange to coming to the company town and working in the mines. However, once the immigrants got off the train, they were told that all the houses were filled and they would have to stay in the overcrowded Grand Midway Hotel. At one point, the Grand Midway Hotel was so overcrowded that people made residence on the dirt floors in the basement. Could this exchange be between a family of immigrants who realized the scheme and were planning an escape?
Do you know what the person's name was that got killed behind the stage?
It was Stawinski, I think his last name was. He didn't have a first name.
Is there Mr. Stawinski with us?
I got some stuff in there if you guys want. I got peanut butter crackers and shit. You guys are welcome to them.
Oh, thanks, man.
Very cool. When you guys gonna snack around, I might go do some weird shit.
Yeah, man.
You be like rolling around naked or whatever.
Of course, the Sabbath after me.
Paul Stansky is another person who met a gruesome demise on the premises of the Grand Midway Hotel. Here's Blair Murphy discussing Stansky's death.
We had an unsolved murder happen in 1949 in the bar, where this guy came in and he busted some people doing an illegal operation in there, and they clubbed him over the head with a 2x4, and he fell out the back door, and a cab rode over him. And so that family lives right up the street, and it's never been solved. Who were the murderers? And we get people that come and they just investigate the bar. Sometimes people just sit at the bar and they put out liquors and stuff, and their whole investigation is just centered at kind of traffic that's floating around our bar.
Up and down the bitty drill, hippity uppity, hippity uppity.
I decide to bust my spirit box out to see if we can get further communication with the entities on the stage. A spirit box is a device that sweeps radio frequencies at a rate of 1 to 3 frequencies per second. It is theorized that spirits can communicate through the white noise it generates. The voices that come through are categorized as electronic voice phenomena, or EVP.
What happened after you left the bar?
Can you step away from the REM pod, please? So we can communicate?
Suffer?
Suffer.
Did you suffer?
Confused, I think.
Under.
Light.
Did you get like...
The Ovulus is a device that spirits can manipulate and use the pre-programmed word database to communicate. This device started spitting out words that may have coincided with Mr. Stansky's death. However, it seems like we need to put the Ovulus words in reverse to tell Stansky's story. After being hit on the head with a 2x4 and laying in the alleyway, Stansky heard something.
Did you get like...
It was coming towards Stansky. Then he quickly saw the cars was drug. The car smelled the cars, and then he
Communicate?
before dying. Is it possible that Stansky may have suffered from dyslexia while alive, and his stories in death come in reverse? Or is this just how some spirits communicate? Another mystery in another plane of existence. As the rest of the group takes a break to get food, I decide to get weird by myself in the vampire suite.
Tell me what your name is.
I'm not sure the significance of the names or the clear EVP saying blunt, but it does seem like someone is trying to calm a child down to get ready for bed.
Hello, what's your name? What'd you say? Can you tell me your name, please?
At first, I felt that the spirit box saying Hannah was indicating my wife, who at the time was severely pregnant at home. But the Hannah name comes up a lot during the investigation, and I have a theory on who this Hannah really is. Again, the name Hannah makes an appearance, and the word fire safe leads me to believe that I am interacting with the spirits from the brothel days, and maybe this back room to the vampire suite is where the safe was kept hidden.
That's them walking. Hello!
Upon the group's return from getting food, we decide to temporarily move our investigation outside of the Grand Midway and hit up Blair Murphy's new location, the Renaissance Church. Not much is known about the history of the church besides...
This is an old Irish Catholic church that I think closed down around 10 years ago.
But Blair is giving it his signature unique touch.
Where to go with the building next? Instead of investing a lot more in the building, I decided to start purchasing other buildings around town because there's a lot of old cool buildings in this town that are just not being championed. And a church opened up, the church we're in. It's about 2 blocks away, and so we purchased that and put that on the Midway campus, and then immediately after that, I heard from the Anne Rice camp in New Orleans. Anne Rice, the author of the vampire novels, and they had a doll museum that needed a new home, and so they donated the entire Anne Rice doll collection here to this church. So that's what's around us right now.
Blair leads us to a very dark corner of the basement where another paranormal research team collected a lot of evidence, and then he leaves us alone in the building.
It is March 6th,
March 6th.
2021.
And I checked that with the K2 meter earlier, and there was no electromagnetic field. So whatever's manipulating that, it's fresh. Can you let us know? I didn't get to ask a question. Can you grab that a little harder?
thought I heard something earlier. That's what I was like.
The combination of the REM pod buzzing, the disembodied voices, and footsteps confirms that we are truly interacting with entities. However, given the content of the disembodied voices and the irrelevant REM pod responses, I believe at this point these are merely residual hauntings or memories of the past being acted out by leftover energy.
Hell was that? That wheezing sound or something.
I think that was Sean.
Have his vest constricting my breathing as it is, Phil.
Are you able to shut that off for us, please? Thank you. Now, can you turn that on if you are a male entity? Can you turn it on if you are a female entity?
It's hard to diagnose if the hatred is intelligently geared towards me or if it is more residual speech, but this does mark the transition to when the haunting becomes intelligent.
If you're a child, can you touch the REM pod, that red light?
Thank you.
We appreciate that. Can you stop now, please? Because we'd like to communicate with you. Thank you. Now, you're a child. Are you of the age of 1 to 5 years old? If so, can you grab the REM pod again? Are you age 6 to 10? Thank you.
This is completely compelling as the disembodied voices spew out ages and the REM pod responds intelligently to the age range of 6 to 10. Does this mean we are interacting with multiple child apparitions?
Now, if you're age 6 to 10, can you turn it on if you are 6 years old?
You can also tell us on this black box right in front of me how old you are. Your exact age.
Are you 7 years old? Are you 8 years old? Are you 9 years old? Nine.
9 years old, yeah.
Again, the conflicting responses between the disembodied voice and the REM pod suggest that we are truly interacting with child entities or entities that choose to appear as children.
How old was the girls at the hotel, do you know?
Oh, you mean like the little girls?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they were ever established. The only one is Minnie. She was 18.
I was wondering if something like followed from there, you know?
It's possible. Did you used to live in the Grand Midway Hotel? Did you come over with us or with other people?
Oh, wow.
That's great. I appreciate that. Are you the girl in the basement? Are you the little girl whose mom sings lullabies to her?
Are you buried under the Grand Midway Hotel?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
The combination of the disembodied voices saying, I am here, I'm 8, and then a super hard REM pod hit after I ask if she's the little girl whose mom sings lullabies, and when Sean asks if she's buried under the Grand Midway Hotel, coincides perfectly with my theory at the end of our investigation.
If you'd like us to visit you underneath the Grand Midway Hotel in their basement, can you turn that flashlight on for us, please? It's not the flashlight, man.
Either or.
We definitely will come to see you.
Yes.
We promise you that.
It's not the flashlight, but we still pay a visit to the Grand Midway basement. I decide to bust the spirit box out to further communicate.
You might be able to communicate with this a little better. Are you able to come through and tell us what your name is? The little girl that's been playing with the REM pod. Can you tell us what your name is?
This confirms that the Hannah that keeps coming through the spirit box is not referring to my wife, but the little girl that is buried under the Grand Midway Hotel. This all plays in part to my groundbreaking theory I reveal at the end of the investigation. We take our investigation upstairs to do a spirit box session on the altar.
Charge!
Is there anything here, Ruth?
The contrast on my video camera was set inaccurately during the investigation, so I can't confirm if there was anything behind me.
10 minutes? Did you used to go to church here?
It seems that I am interacting with various spirits of people who were a part of the church and some that were not. One of my theories is that there are multiple planes of existence in the afterlife, and some entities on more powerful planes can travel around while others are stuck at a certain location. It's possible that the entities not tied to the church had the ability to travel and came to visit for whatever reason. Before Sean blinds me with his headlamp, two interesting and chilling EVPs come through. Could this be one of the church's former priests referring to the book of Genesis chapter 1 verse 26 regarding God granting man dominion over the earth?
Still getting some random. I was getting some random guys there for a little bit. Yeah, you were. Fuck you guys.
There is always at least one spirit getting sexual during Bump in the Night Society investigations. We pack up and move our gear to the church balcony.
Let the flashlights turn on.
Okay. Can you twist it a little more? Use a little more energy. There you go.
Awesome.
Is that you with that there?
I didn't make any noise.
I thought I heard a tap behind you.
I thought I saw something behind Phil when I was...
The activity starts immediately as we have the flashlight, REM pod, knocks, and orbs all happening simultaneously.
Can you make another sound in the church?
Yep. Is there someone down there?
Announced.
Like they announced their presence?
I guess so.
Well, that flashlight's going.
Yeah, I saw that.
Can you turn it a little brighter, please?
Can you twist that flashlight real tight? Turn that light real bright.
Takes a lot of energy, but you can do it. You can use the energy from that REM pod.
Sean and I always debate the validity of phone ghost apps, but I will admit that they do sometimes spew intelligent information. Shortly after a male disembodied voice intelligently says yes to Sean's request to make the flashlight brighter, a female comes through saying she is alone. Does her inability to see the male entity further validate my theory of multiple planes of existence in the afterlife?
There's something downstairs. Can you make a noise again? If you're the little girl that we've been talking to, can you turn that flashlight real bright? If you're something else, can you turn the flashlight on real bright?
The REM pod backs the adult-sounding disembodied voices, indicating that we are no longer interacting with the female child entity.
Are you a male entity? If so, can you turn the flashlight on? So I think we are talking to a male. The flashlight did go on.
Can you tell us your name?
The male entity comes through in a disembodied voice indicating that he has already told us his name. Is it possible that he did, but the vibrations of his voice did not have enough energy to break through the spiritual plane?
Can you really use your energy and turn that flashlight on as bright as you can?
Heard a thump.
Yeah, that was loud. Can you make that thump again? Can you let us know where you want us to go?
The origin of this loud thump quickly makes its presence known.
You sure Blair's not here? Since MS1.
No, it is.
Yeah.
Blair, are you here?
You up here?
Blair? Blair? No. Oh, okay.
From forging a friendship with our girl Minnie at the Grand Midway Hotel,
Is your middle name Minnie?
to potentially interacting with the priest at the Renaissance Church. The first half of our investigation was filled with amazing captures. However, one of the key aspects so far in the investigation is that we were able to determine the little girl buried in the basement of the Grand Midway Hotel is likely an 8-year-old named Hannah.
Can you tell us what your name is?
Join us for part 2 of the documentary when we reveal my groundbreaking theory that ties this little girl to the seemingly dark entity that lurks in the dreaded Canopy Room.
Can you tell us, did you pass away in this room? If you did, can you please turn the light on?
So Chip Coffey, his theory was that it was a suicide happened in the room, but we believe that a woman was murdered in the room.
Was there a woman who committed suicide in this room? Is that what happened? Or were you strangled?
Yeah, I was like, I don't actually have it with me.
You gonna go over the sheets? Does that make anything?
Shorts or walking?
Yeah, because I've done this before. To get it off. Like when we were at Hillview, we were in Jeffrey's room and I was using Milwaukee. He was doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.